Good morning, Roll Gang. Welcome on inside to another episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. I am your host this morning, Processor Sky, with another episode of Canna News Thursday. So excited to get on into this Wake and Bake with you guys, Roll Gang, and talk about the latest and greatest in the cannabis industry news. So I have some New Jersey news for you guys. I have some Missouri news, as well as some news that we touched on a previous episode that I am super excited to give you guys an update on. But before we get on into the news stories this morning, the Weekday Wake and Bake goes live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time to blaze some herb and talk about some cannabis content with you guys. And we are proudly sponsored by Amsterdam University, the first ever cannabis college in the United States, Roll Gang. The first of many, because this industry is on the rise. This budding industry is just taking over in the United States, and states are legalizing cannabis as fast as they can. The people want it, so make sure you guys are claiming your stake in this amazing growing industry. And it's not just about gaining cannabis knowledge, Roll Gang. It's about having something on your resume that proves that you tried your damnedest to get educated on the plant. And the best way to do this is to educate yourself via Amsterdam University, where you can get a certificate for horticulture, home growing, cannabis, compliance, you name it, Roll Gang. If you're trying to gain mental real estate for cannabis, claim it at Amsterdam University. And you can use promo code Rolling Spoon when you check out your tuition to get 10% scholarship off of your education. So super excited to be able to provide the Rolling Spoon scholarship at Amsterdam University. This episode is also brought to you by the Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool, the most efficient way to procure your cannabis. Use your rolling spoon to scoop your herb from your grinder into wherever you smoke. And Roll Gang, make sure you keep those fingers clean. You know what I'm saying. We love to roll dimes every single time. And the only way to ensure that is to roll it evenly with my rolling spoon. So super excited to get on into this Canna News Thursday episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. If this is your first time tuning into the show, the Weekday Wake and Bake goes live every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch to talk about some cannabis content while, hitting the wake and bake, as is stoner law. We can't wake without bacon. We have awoke, so now we must smoke. Wake up and smell the flowers. So basically, I love to wake and bake every morning. I'm sure you guys do too. I just hope we can wake and bake together, because I have so much fun hopping on here with you guys and talking about some cannabis content. We have Canna News Thursday on deck today, so we're going to talk about 4 of the greatest pieces of cannabis news from this week, and it's going to start in Arkansas. So a couple weeks ago, we actually talked about this same story from Arkansas. Basically, a group of activists from Arkansas were told to acquire signatures to try and get cannabis legislation on the ballot. So cannabis activists, true stoners, trying to get cannabis legalized in their state. in Arkansas. So these activists went about their mission and collected 193,000 signatures from residents of Arkansas. So basically, this group of activists, super badass, goes around Arkansas and collects 193,000 signatures to help legalize cannabis. So basically what happened though is they collected all of these signatures. I reported on that before actually, Roll Gang. I'm not sure if you were tuned into that episode, but what I was super convinced that 193,000 signatures would do it. However, the State Board of Election Commissioner of New Jersey ruled that the signatures were received on a ballot that had a misleading name. So basically, they named this petition poorly, and they're paying for it because all their work of gaining 193,000 signatures to legalize cannabis, the election committee is trying to nullify it because the nomenclature of the petition was misleading. So these activists are not going down without a fight. The activists, 2 days ago, officially filed their lawsuit on the Supreme Court against the Election Committee of Arkansas because, of course, they collected 193,000 signatures. I can't even imagine how frustrating it would be to keep facing these adversities, but I mean, huge shout out to these activists with incredible amounts of energy to be able to attack their Arkansas government, who is fighting with every bone in their body to stop cannabis from being legalized. So the Supreme Court will be hearing this case from the activists who collected the signatures versus the Arkansas Election Commissioner. And they're going to hope to get the option for legalizing cannabis onto the ballot for early 2023. So huge shout out Arkansas for not letting down, not giving up, fighting for what they believe in. I absolutely love to see the energy from Arkansas. You know, not every state is so proactive like California and Las Vegas. People are in jail all over the country for smoking this herb that you and I are consuming this morning, Roll Gang. I hope you're wake and baking with me. But in Arkansas, there is a sincere group of consummate professionals fighting for our plant and the right to consume and medicate freely. Collected 193,000 signatures and now filing a lawsuit in the Supreme Court just for this plant. Really magical stuff, Roll Gang. Really appreciate everybody tuning in here on the Weekday Wake and Bake Canna News Thursday edition, going through the latest and greatest in cannabis news. I'm your anchor man, Processor Sky, and the next piece of cannabis news that I have for you comes from a study conducted at the federal level. So synthetic cannabinoids were super popular, super harmful. So there's cannabis and then there's synthetic cannabis, aka K2 or spice. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this. I'm not all too familiar with synthetic cannabinoids, but apparently they are extremely dangerous and poisonous. In fact, alternatively to cannabis the plant, there is an extremely lethal dose of K2 at a very small amount. And it's very easily to overdose on K2 where you cannot overdose on cannabis. So in states in which cannabis the plant is fully legalized for medicinal consumption, 37% less poisonings from synthetic cannabinoids. That's right, there are 37% less overdoses on K2 in states where cannabis is legal rather than states where cannabis is still illegal, criminalized. So it just proves that cannabis legalization helps more than just people that are about consuming cannabis. It gives a healthy alternative for all of the hard and extremely dangerous substances that people can get addicted to, and habit forming substances that people can have their lives ruined by. So having legalized cannabis directly correlates with the less overdoses on synthetic cannabinoids, also known as K2 or spice. Another amazing study about the legalization of our amazing plant. So I'm halfway through this Canon News Thursday. We have 2 more stories to share with you guys, but before we get on into them, quick shout out Oaksterdam University, my alma mater, the only college that I graduated from, and I have 0 regrets. It's the predominant college for gaining cannabis industry education. Claim your stake in the industry. Put Oaksterdam University education on your resume and get 10% off tuition with promo code Rolling Spoon. The Rolling Spoon Scholarship for your cannabis education at Oaksterdam University. So the next piece of cannabis news from your anchorman, Processor Sky, comes from Missouri. That's right, Mizzou. So Mizzou officially announced this week that the appearance of cannabis legislation, the initiative to legalize cannabis in Missouri, will officially appear on the state's November ballot for vote. Huge news for Missouri. Let's go. So Missouri citizens are going to have the opportunity to vote for this amazing plant to be finally legalized in their state, adding Missouri to the amazingly growing list of legalized cannabis consumption states. This train is not stopping, Roll Gang. The momentum is so strong. Missouri jumping on the train. Super excited for November for the citizens of Missouri to get the opportunity to vote for the plant's legislation. Super, super promising piece of cannabis news here on this Canon News Thursday. Huge shout out, Missouri. Hope you guys have an awesome cannabis market coming soon here in early 2023 to be legalized November 2022. I am super stoked for the Missouri cannabis legislation vote. But damn, Roll Gang, I am smoking a fucking pearl this morning, just like every morning, rolled by your processor and his rolling spoon. Use this handy dandy rolling tool to roll a dime every time. See, this is like a cigarette of joy right here. There's no nicotine, no tobacco. It looks like a cigarette, but that's just the herb. Hang on, Roll Gang. I'm going to get a little blazed here real quick. Before I get on into the last piece of cannabis news here on this Canon News Thursday of the Weekday Wake and Bake. All right, Roll Gang. Your anchorman's back in business. So the last piece of cannabis news here on this Canon News Thursday comes from the great East Coast state of New Jersey. So a new bill. So New Jersey is a a cannabis legalized state. They're actually one of the most proactive states here in the last couple years in the moving and shaking of the cannabis industry in New Jersey. At one point, they were even allowing their off-duty cops to consume cannabis. Imagine being able to smoke weed with a cop. New Jersey, you're fucking crazy. So a new bill filed by New Jersey's Senate's president, Nick Sotari, would allow interstate commerce for New Jersey with other legalized states. So basically, New Jersey with a very, very futuristic bill. Essentially, in our country, one day you are going to be able to trade cannabis from state to state just like any other grown good, any other crop. But right now, because cannabis is Schedule 1, it is extremely hard to do so. So the president of the Senate in New Jersey has filed a bill to legalize interstate commerce so that the New Jersey cannabis industry could receive cannabis from out of state, essentially. They're admitting that, damn, our industry is super fresh and young. So we should be able to receive the influences of amazing interstate commerce like California to come in and really make a difference in the industry. I'm really thankful for the president of the Senate out in New Jersey for this super foresightful bill writing in. I hope that it passes so that New Jersey can have interstate commerce with their cannabis industry and people can consume cannabis in New Jersey that wasn't just cultivated there because, I don't know, Roll Gang, New Jersey's a little bit cold. Up on that northeast over there, cannabis doesn't grow too well in the snow. So definitely would be really great for the New Jersey industry to be able to get some outdoor cannabis from down south or out west a little bit more. But Roll Gang, it has been an absolute pleasure sharing these 4 pieces of cannabis news with you guys. We got the lawsuit from the activists in Arkansas trying to get legalized in their state. We got decreases in synthetic cannabinoid usage and overdoses in states where cannabis is legalized. We got Missouri set to have a major vote in November, and New Jersey trying to do some interstate cannabis commerce. Absolutely awesome pieces of movement in the cannabis industry. It is so fun to hop on here every Thursday and just give the week's updates of cannabis industry news, because every week you can get your fill right here. It's a little bit slow day to day, but every week I feel like there's a pretty decent amount of movement. So make sure you guys tap in every Thursday for Canna News Thursday on the Weekday Wake and Bake. We go live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Time. 5 different streaming platforms. You know where to find us, Roll Gang. But this show is dedicated to you guys at the end of the day. I absolutely love hopping on here in session with you guys. But I'm going to go smoke the rest of this fucking dime. And I am actually headed to Salt Lake City today for a sectionals tournament. My 18 and over men's team has made the sectionals tournament, trying to punch our ticket to the Nationals tournament. So tomorrow morning I will be hitting you guys with a brief episode. It may be a little bit late, Roll Gang. So I have a match, a very important match against the other contending team. Nevada versus Utah. It is going to be an extreme challenge tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. But that is mountain time, I believe. So it'll actually be 7 a.m. here. I will be 1 hour into my match at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So I am going to try and bust this dude up. Try to finish him in as quick as possible. But an hour is still really pushing it. So Roll Gang, I might be a couple minutes late tomorrow. Super sweaty. and drenched on a Fuck Yeah Friday after I go and hopefully secure the dub for my team. You know, I'm only worth 1 point. We need 3 to get the team win. But I'm going to go and secure my point and hop on with you guys for Fuck Yeah Friday tomorrow morning as close to 8 a.m. as I can get. But I just love my Wake and Bakes with the Roll Gang. So have a great Thursday. It has been an awesome Canon News Thursday episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. And I will see you, Roll Gang, tomorrow for Fuck Yeah Friday in Salt Lake City, baby. Let's go.